This is Lewis Hart for Boxing Social in association with Empire Firestorm. Always a pleasure to be joined with Big Mo here on a nice Monday evening at the start of well, I guess it's not really evening for you, mate, but
No.
yeah, start of a massive week for yourself. Yeah, obviously emceeing for Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul this weekend in a huge fight in Texas at the Cowboys Stadium. But before we get into it, it is Monday, start of the week. How are you, mate?
Yes.
Nerves settled in yet?
No, I'm good. I just got back from London or from the UK yesterday. I was in London doing Media Fight Night, which is a great charity organization and some white collar boxing. I did that with Johnny Nelson. He was the host. I was the MC, so that was good. And then I went to Wolverhampton for some BYB bare knuckle. Did some bare knuckle in Wolverhampton, and then flew back from London yesterday. So I'm a little tired, but that's nothing normal with the gig that I've had with Boxer and Sky. So now I'm going to hang out here in Denver for a couple days, and then I go to Dallas on Wednesday. I'm not participating in the press conference, but I still want to go. And then I'll be doing the weigh-ins on Thursday, and then the fight on Friday.
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. Obviously, the news come out. I want to say like last week. I think I actually got a press release from MVP, and I read that, and obviously saw your name on it. I saw your Instagram to see you were emceeing it. So yeah, I guess obviously it's something that you knew for quite some time, but to finally put the news out there and tell everyone, like, how excited were you to, I guess, do that?
Oh, well, it's my career's been so much fun, and a big reason why is because it's gone like really fast.
Mhm.
And I've always said that I've wanted to announce an MC on the biggest stage possible, and this will unequivocally be the biggest stage possible. By the way, sorry if my phone's shaking. I'm holding it with my hand,
No, no, you're fine. You're fine.
but yeah, no, it's this fight is going to be huge. I mean, I think the official number of Netflix subscribers is about 280 million. And then you factor in people that would be watching it at people's houses or at a bar. I know there's watch parties going on all over. Even at least there's here in Denver, so I'm sure they're happening all over. And they're expecting a massive turnout. It's going to be in the tens of millions of viewership just for the live broadcast, and then it's just going to sit on Netflix forever. This is Netflix's first live sporting event. So the fact that they wanted me to MC it is amazing. And I've been grinding at this for a while, including but not limited to flying across the pond for every Boxer and Sky show and things like that, which I love to do. So it's all just an honor to be involved in it.
Firstly, like, what do your family and friends think, like, especially from like the sort of Denver area? It must be mad, like, to tell them, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe people that were there from the start and they see now. What's that been like? I guess to tell them and see that.
Well, I mean, look, it's this fight. That's what makes this fight so big, is it extends past just boxing. This is now extending into sport as a whole. It's extending into entertainment. Netflix's first live sporting event. Obviously, Netflix is the platform when it just comes to just pure viewership and numbers. So they're psyched. I mean, it's been a crazy ride. 3, 4 years ago, I was announcing in front of, a couple hundred people, and now I'm going to be announcing in front of tens of thousands that are there and then tens of millions that are watching. So it's just crazy. And I just turned 29. So it's like it's been a wild run.
I was going to say that there, and like, if you don't not in it, if you don't mind me saying, like, especially most MCs, and it's a credit to yourself for it being like this, but most MCs, they're putting in the graph for sort of like 20, 30 years to get to this position that you're in now. So is it mad that it's like it's happened all so quickly? Like, as you say, you're not even 30 yet, and look at all the things you've achieved. You've done pay-per-view fights, you're doing this and that. Like,
Yeah.
they're all great, but this is really, this is a massive moment for yourself. Like, do you ever pinch yourself to sort of think to see how quickly it's all happened so short time?
I mean, I try to stay humble, and I try to keep myself grounded, and I think I do a good job of doing that. And the biggest thing is that it's not about me. It's not about the
Mhm.
MC. It's not about the ring announcer. To me, it's about the show. So as long as I'm a part of the show that's successful, that's really all I care about. And yeah, I think it's been wild at how quick it's gone. I'm in the industry with about 4 years of emceeing experience, and really in the boxing industry, I'm at like 2.5. So yeah, I'm competing against people that have 20, 30, 40 years of experience. So the fact that I'm doing this at 29, I think is I mean, I love it, and I love the competitive side of it all, and I want to be on the biggest stage possible. So it's just amazing how it's all come together.
And I guess when you did get the opportunity, when you got the phone call, like how was that experience? I guess from maybe from when you were sort of when you rang your phone, I don't know who would have called you, but they rang you, said, you fancy MC, and like how would that all come about and that feeling for yourself?
Um, I had talked to Jake Paul's team previously about working with them and doing shows with them. It just never worked out for a handful of reasons, timing being one of them. But I think that they understood the scale of it all, and they understood that it was a fresh platform, and they wanted someone new, and they wanted something different. And I believe Netflix was kind of obviously on the same wavelength in terms of thinking. And I think it just the pieces fell together. That's the thing about business, and that's the thing about the line of work that I do, is that it takes a lot of luck. It takes timing. It takes jobs happening at the right point. It takes an opening here. Everything works together. It's not just like everything comes together exactly how you want and boom, you got the job. There's so many moving pieces, especially in this chaotic industry of boxing. But I'm just thankful that it all came together. It's a dream come true for me. And like I said, I'm just honored to be a part of what I think is going to be the biggest fight in history.
Mhm. And when you say yes to something like that, and it's all set in stone that you are doing it, like talk to me about that feeling because I always think sort of like it to myself when I sort of hear about big opportunities, like you get all that feeling inside you, like you're excited and you're nervous and all them things. Like you share similar thoughts. Like was it that sort of like that excitable, nervous, like you're thinking
A
about all
little
different
bit,
situations? Yeah.
a little bit. What I will say is doing Shields Marshall so I did Shields Marshall when I was 26, and that was the first like big like I did Eddie Thor, which was
Yeah.
big from a pop culture standpoint. Shields Marshall was big from a boxing standpoint. It was on ESPN, it was on Sky, big viewership. And that was like the first time that like I had gone into something not with nerves, but almost like you said, that excitable nervousness. And that was sold out. That was 25,000 or 20,000 at the O2 or whatever it holds, 19. Big viewership all over. So that helped curb a lot of any type of nervousness that would come from it. I think the thing that's going to register for me is just how big Netflix is in terms of viewership. Because the thing is that this is not just their first live sporting event, but it's also going to sit on the platform forever. So it'll accrue however many other tens of millions of viewers that will just watch it because it's available on the Netflix catalog. So when you factor all that stuff in, it's the scale really that's like making me go like, holy
Mhm.
shit, this is a big
Yeah.
show. But I love it because that's what I've always wanted to do was the big shows. So it's never a bit of nervousness or anything like that. It's more of just like, I knew that this was going to happen and this is what I've been working towards. And this is why I've, been doing this the way I've been doing. And I've been working out how I've been working is to get to this point. And now we're here. Well, not
Mhm.
quite, but soon we'll be here.
Yeah. Yeah, just that being said, and obviously we spoke a bit off camera about it, saying like the whole occasion and that, because at the end of the day, like as you say, I'm sure the most important thing for yourself is emceeing and doing it like to the best of
Yeah.
your ability. But how much how much does for your thought process does the occasion come into it where it comes around like, I've got to be maybe I've got to be extra on my game for it's a big occasion. Like, do you think about sort of the occasion a lot?
No, and I think that's a big reason why I'm here is for years, even when I was, you know, 24, 25 on the regional scene, doing events wherever I could do an event, 100 people, 200 people, 500 people. I announced and I treated it like I was doing a massive event at Madison Square Garden or the O2 or Wembley Stadium and things like that. And my style has always been like that. I've always been more extroverted and more trying to think of the right word, maybe more grand with how I announce and things like that. And you've seen how I do my work before and everything. So I've always gone into it with the same type of preparation. And this is no different. If I really want to nail it, kind of hone it down, the only thing is what I'm saying. The only difference between an introduction for this fight versus an introduction for another fight is that, they have different records and bios and different names and things
Yeah.
like that. Like my preparation's the same. Everything I do is the same. There'll probably be some increased preparation in terms of like rehearsals with the production company because of the scale of this and because of it's a stadium and all that type of stuff. But in terms of my personal preparation, It's the same as it always is. It's just more, for some introductions, I'm gonna, for Mike's, I might include some points. For Katie's and Amanda's, I'll include some points, and for Jake's, I'll include some points. So there's, maybe slightly nuanced things that I would say, but in terms of prep, it's all the same.
I was going to say that because there's so much that people don't see. Like even like as you say, you prep it, and I know you've done some press conferences as well. Like I'll see the work that guys like Adi Oladipo, Andy Scott, and Dev Sani they'll do going into like press conferences and stuff. And I'm sure it's the same when you're practicing sort of emceeing out. There is like I guess an insight if you could give an insight into the prep that you go through to announce because
Yeah,
it is a lot what people don't see.
yeah, and I've said this before, and I've said this in a lot of interviews, but where MCs and announcers have a unique job is we, whoever's doing the job, is the only person that talks to both the in arena crowd and the crowd that's watching on television. So it adds a layer of complexity almost to that because you have to figure out a way to engage both audiences who would be engaged with in very different ways. The ways that you would engage a television audience is going to be different than the way that you'd want to engage an in-arena audience. The other thing that complicates it is there's no room for error. It's the great thing about my job is I'm presenting, I'm by myself, I'm in the ring. It's this big forum and this big occasion. The downside is that because of that and because of how I speak and how grand everything feels with a ring announcer, everything you do is held under a magnifying glass to where if you misspoke or if you say the wrong thing or if you mispronounce a name, everything's focused on it because it's looking at what you're doing as an introduction. So there's very little room for error when doing the job. So those are really where the complications come from. I don't think the complication comes from, remembering that this person is actually from, you know, Vegas when he's really from New York or something like that. I don't think that necessarily is the hard part. Obviously, you want the information that you're given to be correct. I think the difficult part is when the lights turn on and the camera turns on and the people are there and everything is rolling and you're on a live broadcast. In my opinion, it's those situations that separate, a bad announcer from a good announcer, or a good announcer from a great announcer.
hmm Is that something like, do you like that factor in a way that no, like you are under like mass pressure, like because as you say, like I'm sure, like I know he's not an MC, but there's that video of Joe Rogan where he gets like Umar and the Mega Mental's name wrong, and that like went viral, and that like, do you like that sort of pressure where everything's magnified times 10?
I do. I do. I love live entertainment. I love putting on a show. I think that a reason why I'm good at the job, a more intangible reason, is I'm very much a perfectionist. I think everyone that's ever worked with me could say that I'm very detail oriented. I ask a bunch of questions. I double, triple check things. I'm always communicating with stage managers and things like that. Like I'm very much in tune with how the show needs to work. I love working with directors and producers. Um, that's the type of stuff that I love. So I think it makes sense for me to do it. But I also am good with pressure. I'm good with being live. I know how to talk on my feet and I don't make mistakes and things like that. So I think everything just kind of works with me doing the job. And I think that how I do it and how I prep and how focused I am on it, obviously, I think lends itself to where I am now. And that was the biggest hurdle when I got started was, I was 25 years old trying to get work as this MC, and you had these large promotions and these broadcasters that would say, well, why are we, you're not,
Mm.
you're not old enough, you're not experienced enough, we can't trust you with that job because that job is critically important. They're handing me a live microphone on a live international or domestic broadcast. And then they're also handing me the microphone that's live to an entire arena of people that all bought tickets. So there's a lot of responsibility that comes with the role for me to not one mess up, misappropriate the business or misrepresent the business or the network or say something wrong or anything like that. All that can happen. So I had to prove my way, and Boxer and Sky was a huge piece of that because they trusted me with that role, and it's obviously been a great relationship since. And now the fact that I'll be on this big of a platform, I think it really validates a lot of what I've been doing, for the last few years.
hmm Definitely. And another point that I wanted to touch on that is significant for yourself is the arena. And I'm sure you
Yeah.
had sort of visions in the college days of holding a football at the Cowboys Stadium, but instead it's a microphone. Yeah, that
Yeah.
does make it extra special as well.
Yeah. No, the venue's amazing too. And the fact that it's back home. I mean, you guys have to understand, I haven't done a big fight in America ever.
Yeah,
I've never done like a really, really big show. I did because when you look at like the big fights that I've done, I did Eddie versus Thor. That was in Dubai. Shields Marshall was in London. Smith Eubank 1 and 2 was both in Manchester. All of the Sky and Boxer shows I've done have been in Europe. So I haven't done. I've done shows in America, but I've never done like a global international viewership type of event in America. So I think it's also fitting that this is the first event that I get to basically do back home that's on this type of
yeah.
scale.
Hmm. Absolutely, and as I say, like it must be that must be extra special. As we, you know, we were talking about earlier, but to see it like in America as well for because I guess it's bigger than that. Because you know when you do speak to your friends, and I'm sure like the friends in America, like you know, they're big fights in here, but when you ask talk to them about Eubank Smith and that, they may not understand. But now, as you say, they when it's in America, I'm sure that's something we will want because the people around you they can now truly understand, as you say.
Yes, and this fight's also a bit of a an anomaly because it's
Hmm.
so big beyond just the sport of boxing. So, that also plays into it, and the fact that it's on Netflix plays into it. All of that plays into it. But I think that that's what's leading us to this mega event that we're going to see. I'll tell you what, man. Mike and Jake are both ready.
Yeah.
We did some of the fighter interviews, and they are ready to go put on a show. They're not walking into this in any other way except for the fact that both of them want to get the win. And then Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano are locked in. That's obviously going to be a great fight. Like, this is an amazing boxing card, just beyond outside of Paul Tyson. The card is stacked.
Yeah, absolutely for sure. And yeah, I guess I'll leave it there. Cody, is always a pleasure to catch up with you. And as I say, like from my point of view, I was buzzing for you. I messaged you straight away when I found out the
Yes.
news. So yeah, absolutely buzzing for you. So as I say, like I remember seeing a TikTok reel of you ages ago when you were sort of MC on the regional circuit, then to guess to become see you doing the box shows, become friends with you, and now see you do Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. Only really the
Wow.
start, but yeah, it's mad. I'm happy for you, man. And as always, I appreciate the time.
Well, I've always appreciated your support, and I appreciate all the support of the people that follow Boxing Social and watch these videos, and all the fans that are a part of boxing. I'm honored to be doing what I'm doing. I'm honored that I'm doing it as quick as I'm doing it. Yeah, it was all part of the plan, but to see it all come to fruition is very cool. So I appreciate everyone that supported, especially you, my friend.
Yeah, always a pleasure, mate. Top man, thank you for the time, man. Appreciate it.